Hey, everyone, greetings. Welcome. All right, y'all. Greetings, everyone. Greetings. Welcome to another episode of Brown Girls Are Beautiful. I am your hostess and your melanated queen, Lil Foxy, aka Seventh Wonder. All right. My apologies for that, y'all. This whole Diddy debacle is worse than what we ever could have imagined. Worse than we ever could have imagined, y'all. I mean, it's something that I would have never suspected that has taken place. Um, I don't know how these people can wake up and live with themselves. Literally. I don't know how these people can look themselves in the mirror. Literally. Please excuse me. I'm gonna actually be sending this live stream out to a couple of people if they want to tune in, y'all, until I can get my situation together. This is what I'm going to be doing. So please bear with me. And I do apologize for all of the discrepancy when it comes to this. But, we're going to be back up and running in no time. All right, let me oh, I can share it this way. Never mind, y'all. So let me copy this and I'm going to send this out. All right. All right. Let me send it to one other person. Okay. All right. We're back live and we're in business. Now, to everybody under the sound of my voice, I hope you all are having a wonderful day, have had a wonderful week. Please excuse my one earring. My other one has messed up. So I'm going to go back to the store and get some more of these. But anyway, y'all, um, I was watching, and I'm going to tell you the channel that I got this from, the Lionel B Show. And his video came on earlier, and he had one of Diddy's victims on. And she was tortured, you all, as a little girl. I had no freaking idea. And before we get into this, let's get into the fact that they said that Diddy, who is currently jailed at the Brooklyn Metropolitan Center, recently received a victory in ongoing issues raised. All right. It says here, Diddy gets affirmative response ahead of his upcoming third hearing, November. This says the 22nd. It's scheduled for the 22nd. Combs will soon appear for third bail scheduled for November 22nd, 2024. Sean Diddy Combs, who is currently jailed at the Brooklyn Metropolitan Center, recently received a victory in ongoing issues raised in court involving the prosecutors in the rapper's case. As reported by People, a federal judge, Aaron Subramanian, during the hearing ruled that evidence secured during a sweep of the rapper's jail cell would not be considered as evidence against him. So it's already starting, you all, the nonsense of it all. And why am I saying this? Because, yes, I do believe in the right to a fair and speedy trial. And I also believe in a right to a fair trial. But what about the children and the victims who have no rights, whose rights were violated? Who speaks up for them? When does anybody advocate for them? That's what I'm not understanding. Moreover, the judge also ruled that the prosecution will need to destroy its copies of the 19 pages of notes obtained after the sweep. So the sweep was basically notes that Diddy had written down about potential witnesses and things that he wanted to get accomplished regarding the trial. The recent hearing, which was held on Tuesday on November 19th, which was yesterday, was called after prosecutors made accusations on Monday that the music mogul's attorney client privilege had been violated when items were seized from his cell during a Bureau of Prisons sweep. However, the mogul's attorney called the sweep an outrageous government conduct and a due process violation. Prosecutors, on the other hand, argue that most of the items taken during the sweep were unrelated to the case and did not target specific inmates and were not legally privileged. The 55-year-old rapper has been charged with sex trafficking, which he is very much, in my opinion, guilty of, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. The Bad Boy Records founder, whose third bail hearing is currently scheduled for Friday, November 22nd, has so far been denied bail twice by two different judges. Moreover, the music mogul could face life in prison if found guilty in a trial set to start on May 5th, 2025, you all. Now, let's get into why I feel like we need to have a cancel culture right now, and a new movement needs to be started. Quote unquote, cancel Hollywood. I feel like they need to cancel rap, cancel all these satanic, demonic creature features out here, these heathens, these warlocks, these witches. Y'all, it is far more sinister than what we could have ever deemed, ever imagined. And I'm going to share with you, please check out the Lionel B show. They have 114,000 views as of 5 hours ago. Now, I'm not going to play this whole thing, but what this victim said, I think her name is Misha, is crazy, y'all. Let me go ahead and play. Following content is the Let me play some of this for y'all. Okay, because he said he's going to give copyright strikes for anybody that um, shares it. So, sixth grade, y'all.
That summer or whatever. And, I remember SZA. Her name is Solange Rowe. I don't know. She changed her name, Solange Rose. She went to Will Middle School in Garland, Texas. She came to that school after the 9/11 happened. And I remember her getting bullied a lot because she used to wear the black turbans on her head. And so I became her friend, and I remember a white boy in the class was like, "Your people did it." I remember standing up for her saying, "My people didn't do nothing. We didn't blow up no buildings." And they was like, "Not you, the people with the things on their head." And I remember she got bullied real bad in school or whatever. And it was to the point where her parents ended up taking her out to school. And I remember her saying that like they were gonna take her name out the yearbook. And I remember her saying, like, so if people don't have the original yearbook, like if somebody go back and go look the yearbook up now for Will Middle School, she's not going to be in it.
All right. So, getting to the gist of it, you all, her and SZA, all right, SZA, were going to, I think, either elementary school or middle school together. SZA was being bullied basically in school because of the 9/11 situation that took place. So the children were bullying her, saying that, oh, because she wore a turban, that those her people were the ones that blew up the buildings, which we all know that was a false flag because the buildings were detonated. We've already covered that on this channel. All right. That whole thing with the plane going into the buildings was basically orchestrated with theatrics. All right. Now, moving away from there, getting back to SZA and this Diddy victim. Back then, SZA had an uncle, and her uncle was a producer. All right. Now, this Diddy victim, her name is Misha. Misha used to write. Misha would write music and songs. Now, Misha did state in this video that she had already been molested. She was not penetrated, but she had been molested, all right? And because of that, she was writing, it sounds like sensual songs, sensual lyrics, and she had a notebook full of songs. I think what she ended up doing was sharing this notebook with SZA. I believe SZA may have taken the notebook home to her uncle that was a producer. And I believe he could have been a producer for Puff Daddy because there were some ghostwriters writing for Clive Davis. What ended up happening is she started getting people, and I don't know if they were visiting her at school, after school, or at her residence. It's very unclear as to where they were visiting her, but they would come and give her money for these songs in the book, okay? And she said she had about 50 composition books to my knowledge. And Clive Davis himself came and said, give her whatever she wants. He asked her, how much do you want for the books? At the time, she said like $500. Every time she got the money, she would give the money to her grandmother. Then it went from the guy named Pierre Harold. Pierre Harold, if you recall, used to be found a lot in the Puff Daddy background in a lot of videos, a lot of photographs with him. He's a producer that worked with Puff Daddy. She remembers this guy coming around her, snatching one of the books out of her hand, and at one point he did not pay her money. Now it so happened that eventually this guy, Pierre Harold, let me see if I can fast forward it. Pierre Harold, okay, so they're showing you images of, let me go back to the image. They're going to show you some images of Pierre Harold, if y'all can't remember what he looks like. Anyway, he came around. All right, so here's Clive Davis, y'all. That's Clive Davis. In the background, you're going to see Whitney Houston. Now, I do strongly believe that he had Whitney Houston taken out. And yep, that's them. Looks like Mary J. Blige back there. So y'all, these people are all evil. Pierre Harold came and told Misha, which is this witness and this victim right here that we see up here on the camera on the screen. Basically, she was the one wearing the D&G shirt, sitting on Puff Daddy's lap back in the day, and I think she was trying to come out with her lawsuit. Um, this girl ended up kind of, in my opinion, being kidnapped and drugged from her personal accounts, okay? And from what she stated, she was around 10 or 11 when this happened. And I think she was an easy target because she said her mother was already on drugs. So she asked her grandmother if she could go with Pierre Harold because Pierre Harold said that Diddy wanted to meet her. Diddy was on his way to come get her. Diddy didn't actually show up to get her. Actually, the guy named Pierre Harold showed up. Now, she did ask her grandmother if she could leave. Her grandmother said, no, you cannot go. And she said she would have to ask her mother. So Pierre Harold called the house, kept asking her to go, and unbeknownst to her, he shows up at the house. She ends up, I guess, somehow sneaking off with this guy. She said she did not see Puff Daddy, so he put Puff Daddy on the phone to speak with her, and that's why she ended up going with Pierre Harold. Okay, now as she goes with Pierre Harold, he ends up giving her a jelly bean of some sort and tells her to eat the jelly bean. She said the jelly bean was nasty, it was disgusting. She didn't like it. She starts to spit it out. And basically, it's probably something that was in that candy in the jelly beans that he gave her. All right. So they end up putting her on a private jet, right? And she said she remembers her stomach feeling like it was dropping. She wasn't feeling all the way like herself. And I think she said she was thirsty, and I believe they gave her something to drink, and it was very bitter, whatever it was they gave her. She eventually ended up with Diddy in the presence of Diddy's house or wherever she was. And as she arrived at the house, she ended up hearing someone in the background. It was an Asian guy, and he must have been talking to Diddy, saying to Diddy, oh, you did this to my son. I know you did this to my son. I'm going to call the police. Diddy responds, I don't give a F, you know. call the police. And if you do, you're going to end up DEAD. So basically, he had FBI agents, CIA agents, probably police in his back pocket, right? So this is what's going on. So she's cognizant and she's aware of these things taking place. Somehow, in some type of way, Puff Daddy ends up giving her or offering her something, and he tells her, you cannot refuse. Anytime I offer you something to drink or something, you are not to refuse it. You have to accept it. So I think they ended up drugging her with something again. Lo and behold, she said that Puff Daddy gave her a camera and told her to go around and take pictures. She says she remembers taking pictures of the bed, so on and so forth. Now, at some point, she's starting to feel out of it, right? Somehow she ends up, I think, lying on her stomach or on the bed or some type of way. And she was being sodomized from behind by Puff Daddy. She had not had any type of experience like this before. This was her first time. So Puff Daddy was the one that broke her in. And, she did suffer some damage anally, if I can say that. She yelled, she was telling him that he was hurting her. He kept on, he kissed her in the mouth. After that, she said that the pain stopped. Then she felt more pain again, and this time it was Pierre Harold doing the same thing to her. Then they also threatened another guy. He was Caucasian, and they told him if he did not do it to her, then they were going to F him. So he was not in a situation where he could actually penetrate her, but I guess he pretended to so they would not take advantage of him. I don't even know how these people can become aroused knowing they're doing this. This is how you know they're sadistic and they are very sick. Y'all, J Lo is involved in this nonsense too. I'm going to play a little bit of this so you can hear her.
When I got to the car, he was all like, he put P. Diddy on the phone because I was like skeptical about getting in the car. So he had to call P. Diddy for me to hear his voice. And once I heard his voice, I got in the car. And then when I got in the car, I remember him like, eat the candy, eat the jelly beans. I think I had on pink that day. Pink, like some pink sweats and like a shirt. And I had bobos in my head. And he was like, eat the candy, eat the candy. And some said don't eat the candy, but then he was like being real persistent. Eat it, eat it, eat it, eat the candy, try it, try it. These are new jelly beans. We just invented these with jelly beans. And when I ate the jelly bean, I was like, this is nasty. And
All right. So that's coming out of her own words, out of her own mouth. All right. Now we're going to get into, do y'all remember these photos? You remember these pictures right here? You probably can see my ring light in the background. What's good, Solar God? Yes, Solar God said he's in the building. This makes even more sense that Mary J. Blige said they murdered Aaliyah because she knows exactly what took place, right? They are all evil as F. Yes, yes, indeed, they are. And even Mary J. Blige said that Aaliyah was murdered and it was a spiritual murder. These people believe in satanic practice, you all. These people are sacrificing children. So this is her. You remember these photographs from back in the day? She's sitting in Diddy's lap. And if you go to the Lionel B channel, you'll be able to see this more clearly. I'm trying not to copyright infringe because he said that his channel was the only one that was going to have the exclusive footage. But I just feel like this story needs to be shared and it needs to spread like wildfire because it's not okay what they have done to these people. It's not okay that it's 25 years later and he has not paid the price for what he's done to this girl.
was all like being extra touchy with me. And I was like, yeah, I started feeling like he was a creep, but I was still like going along with it. And he was like, what kind of you like? Like he was asking me about me being molested, and I was honest with him, and I told him about stuff, because he was like the stuff that I was writing. I had to be like, they was asking me, have I ever been molested? Have I ever had sex? And I was like, yeah, knowing I was a virgin. I've been molested, but I never been penetrated. Mm-hmm. He asked me what kind of cooks I like.
You see how sick this is? Now this girl was basically coming straight out of elementary school when they picked her up. All right, let's continue on, y'all, because even Bill Cosby has been named in sodomizing this young lady.
I know he just had a baby, and I was looking at him for help, and he was all like, "I don't want to do this. I want to do this," and he was like, "If you don't fuck her, I'm gonna fuck you." So the dude got behind me, and his stuff was soft, but he was like acting like he was doing it with me, and then like I wasn't yelling, I wasn't screaming like I was. So then Diddy kind of pushed him back, but Diddy had told that man if he didn't do it to me, he was gonna kill him. That man, hurry up, got naked. And I remember Diddy pushing him out the way, and I mean, or no, Pierre pushed him out the way. I remember Pierre smoking crack out of like a crack pipe. I don't know.
So Pierre, which is Diddy's producer, the brown-skinned, bald-headed dude that you always would see him with in the pictures, was smoking crack around her and also had his way with her. So I'm just reiterating basically what she said. She's just coming out of her own words and saying it. All right, let's continue on because it gets even sicker than this, y'all.
At that point, I know I was young at the top of my lungs. And they just had me so hurt. They left me in their restroom. And I don't know how long I was in their restroom, but my legs and stuff wouldn't work. And some white guy came and got me out the restroom. So it's like a security guard or somebody that picked you? This white guy, he when he smiled, he has a cat like a smile like.
Y'all, what she said before that was very disturbing. Let me try to rewind it back.
I mean, I know Pierre pushed him out the way. I remember Pierre smoking crack out of like a crack pipe. I don't know if it was crack. I don't know what was in it, but a crack pipe is where it's circle. You know, it's not. It's he was smoking out of that, and I remember him making me give him head, and like I was using my teeth and everything. He slapped me upside my head, and he was all like, "Don't use your teeth." But I couldn't breathe, and like he was just gagging me with his. It was just so like they're just so big. I remember after that, it was like a break in between and but then I remember looking to my left and P. Diddy's in the doorway with like one of them old school cameras and he's sitting there off and sitting in a chair in the doorway of the restroom. I remember passing out, waking back up, being over the sink and this nigga sticking a champagne bottle in. I was like yelling at that point. I know I was yelling at the top of my lungs. And they just had me so hurt. They left me in their restroom. And I don't know how long I was in there.
All right, so they took a champagne bottle, you all, and rammed it up her insides. You can imagine what I'm talking about. If you remember, there's a girl named Adria English. Adria English right now is 9 years, I'm sorry, 47 years old. She has a 9 year old. Adria English, you all look her up. She has been on look, I want y'all to look up what's her name, Natanya Rubin. Natanya Rubin is the lady that was shot in the nose and the face by Puff Daddy, but let Shine take the downfall. Natanya Rubin has her own podcast. Please subscribe to her YouTube channel. The name of her channel is, I think it's something about the nerd, the something nerd. If I find her channel, I will post it in the description box or I'll give it to y'all. But look her up. It's something called the Nerd Something channel. But that's Natanya Rubin's channel. She just started her channel not too long ago since this Puff Daddy stuff has been taking place. And Adria English is another one of the victims. She actually attested to this very thing because I watched a few of her videos and her interviews, and she said that J Lo, under Puff Daddy's basically Puff Daddy's request, also took some things and sodomized this girl. Took a champagne bottle and shoved and jammed it up in her. Okay? J Lo, Jenny from the Block, the one that does not sing her songs. And I was wondering, what in the world was Mariah Carey talking about years ago when they asked Mariah Carey about Jennifer Lopez? And Mariah Carey said, Well, since I have don't have the luxury of not singing my own songs, because if you all remember the song "Cause I'm Real," that song, those vocals were stolen from Ashanti. Okay? All right, my camera is about to die. I apologize, y'all, because I forgot to put my dummy battery in. So this is going to leave off the screen in just a second, but you still will be able to hear me. I'll try to come back on and I'll try to turn my camera back, but the camera's about to die. So I'll try to use another device if I can. Also, Jenny from the Block, that was not sung by Jennifer Lopez. That's actually sung by another person. And I'm going to look at my notes and I'm going to give you that information for her because she did not sing that song herself. So she's been stealing vocals all throughout her career, y'all. She squeals on her songs and she cannot sing. All right. And not just that, let's talk about the fact that Jennifer Lopez was the one that carried the gun into the nightclub so that Puffy could shoot in the club. And that's how Miss Natanya Rubin ended up getting shot in her nose. All right. And then when they were leaving and fleeing from the cops, Jennifer Lopez's hand was seen throwing the gun out the window as they were turning the corner. The gun landed on top of someone else's car. The guy retrieved the gun and gave it to his supervisor, and then they gave it to the cops. But if you remember in Kim Porter's book, Puffy told J-Lo, "Oh, don't worry about it. You won't have to take the stand." So these people think they've gotten away with victimizing people, shooting people, and doing all these things. And then they want to be idolized, receiving millions of dollars, movies, videos, songs, all this luxurious lifestyle. How can you even enjoy a lifestyle knowing what you've done to innocent people? Y'all, if this dies, I will come back on here in just a moment, okay? Actually, my camera's about to die. I'm going to stop this live stream and I'll be back on because we're not done with Misha's story. All right. So I'm signing out. My apologies. I'm going to bring us back on here when I hook this video back up to my dummy battery camera so it won't die. All right. I'm signing out. Please like, share, and subscribe and tune back in just a moment, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and end it right here.